What in me needs to shift in order for me to have this experience? Other examples, perhaps. I am genuine. Maybe that's your most important thing. I stand for truth. I matter. I've worked with young women, and their most important truth needed to be, I matter. And they would build on that. I choose to care and engage in total honesty. I am one with God, and God in me is love. Those are just a few examples. I invite you to pick yours. So number one is to start now. Number two is to hold yourself accountable and live it. Now, how many of you are already thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to pick one because what if it's the wrong one? Fess up. Come on, hands way up. Yeah. It's like, well, I probably need more time to pick one. I think I got a hangnail I need to deal with first. No, pick it. Give it a trial run. Give it 30 days. Trust yourself. You can change it. The path for discovering your most important thing is to hold yourself accountable for your choices and your intention. Once you pick it, when I pick, I am here to reveal the divine. Now, if I start doing something, let's just say like maybe do your taxes. And you can kind of go this way or this way or this way, and maybe you want to be a little less than honest. I'm not saying I would do that, I'm just giving you an example. So, I have to ask myself, what is my intention here? Is my intention to be deceptive? Is my intention to get away with what I can get away with? Or is my intention, I'm here to reveal the divine? And that means to be as truthful and as honest as I can. Whew! You don't get off the hook when you hold yourself accountable. Adam was a young man in Lawrence, Kansas that came to the church through a 12-step program. He had been a drug dealer, a drug dealer, drug addict. He tried to hang himself. He was in his early 20s, and it was in a hotel room. His life had been threatened. He didn't think he could go further, and he tried to hang himself, and the rope, his belt, actually broke, and he fell to the floor. He crawled into the bed, totally not knowing what to do, now couldn't even end his life. And he said he turned on the television and it was just fuzz. And he said he put the covers over his head and he curled up in a fetal position and he cried and he cried and he cried for hours. And he said finally at some point he pushed the covers back, and at that moment he said a person came on the television and said, "You might need God, but God needs you." And then it went back to the static. That's what he said. Oh my God. He told his sponsor about that, and his sponsor said, you need to pay attention to that. So somehow or another he found our church in Lawrence, Kansas. And I began to work with this young man, and he was an amazing individual. And so we began to think about what was his most important thing. So he said his most important thing was sobriety and to make a difference with his life. And he began to live that. Sobriety and make a difference with my life. Sobriety and make a difference with my life. But he kept seeing me and talking to me, and he was having girlfriend's dilemma. He could never find the girlfriend that he wanted. And he was such a wonderful man. And so when I began to work with him, finally what came out is, I don't want to get hurt. And so he thought that his most important thing seemed to be sobriety and making a positive difference in his life. But when he began to take it that level of living it every day and looking at his intentions, he soon found out what was active in his life. The most important undercurrent that kept undermining everything he did was, I don't want to get hurt. Do you hear what I'm saying? He was sabotaging himself. And so when he held himself accountable, he then upped the ante. He said, the most important thing in my life is sobriety, giving myself to love, and making a positive difference with my life. Now, by adding that little caveat and continuing to look at his intentions every day, his choices and his intentions, what do you think happened? His life began to flourish. He found a wonderful girl, and he came to visit us soon after we moved to Maui. I'm happy to say he's doing great. He's in medical school. He's on his way to becoming a doctor. Life completely turned around because he was willing to decree a most important thing and to hold it hold himself accountable. The final point is to periodically reevaluate it. Establish your most important thing. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's your highest and best and most authentic, most important thing. Nobody needs to know it but you if you don't want to share it. And then you begin to be in relationship with what you have decreed as the truth of your life. And now you're putting yourself in relationship with truth, which is God. And through that relationship with what you establish as the truth for your life, you're in relationship with truth with a capital T. And it will take you places and call you face to face to look at the things in your life that are out of integrity. And then as you reevaluate, perhaps eventually you need to up the ante or change it. How many of you are willing to try it for 30 days? How many of you are willing, before you go to sleep tonight, to have it written on a piece of paper? Give yourself permission. It's just a trial run. It doesn't have to be perfect. How many of you will do that before you go to sleep tonight? Michael, thank you. And then how many of you who said that will try it for 30 days? All right. Take a deep breath. Can you feel the miracles getting ready to happen? So I want us to sing this song together that says, the greatest thing in all my life is serving you. What are we talking about serving here? We're talking about serving the purpose for which you have come. We're talking about serving your greatest truth. We're talking about serving truth with a capital T, the God of your being. However you can identify with this, I invite you to close your eyes and to just really take in the journey that we've taken this morning. We've allowed ourselves to be present and make room for an idea, a divine idea. For this purpose I was sent. And just as Jesus or the Buddha or any other master teacher, any other person that made their life count, just as they have done, we too are here to decree a thing and make it so. And so together we explore that most important thing and the willingness to step out of the default living, to intentionally insert a higher reason for being. And now to begin to live it and hold ourselves accountable. To use it as an internal guidance system. To use it as a decision that fuels every other. To use it as a pathway to experience our true potential, and that is an expression of the Christ. Meaning the perfect pattern of a divine human. And when we realize this, we make room. It's as if we just create an opening in ourselves. And the mind would say, well, it's not that simple. But the soul says, oh, but it is. The yoke is easy and the burden is light. Sometimes to such an extent, we're not willing to try it on. So we agree together that we are willing to try it on. We have nothing to lose for 30 days. And so we see that commitment as a wave that is just moving through this room. As an energy that says, I seek to be in alignment with truth, with God, with light, with goodness, with all that I can be. And then we see that spill out and beyond these walls, because each of us are going out and beyond these walls. And as we carry that vibration with us everywhere we go, the seeds are there. That it may spark another individual even without our saying anything, because it's alive inside of us. And so we feel that momentum building within us and a sense of peace. That life is going to become both more simple and more complex in a divine way. More beautiful. And so we hold this truth in the silence.